Hi, it's Kris, I'm Inksight, and this emotional support arsonist is Blot. And welcome back to my channel. In this video, as you probably saw from the title, I am going to be doing another subscriber portrait. Didn't you say that the next time you're going to do a subscriber portrait would be when you hit 500 subscribers? Because this number don't look like 500. Okay, yeah, you got me there. But, counterpoint. Shut up. I'm only joking, don't worry. I would never tell someone to shut up. But seriously though, shut up, I can explain. So yes, the initial plan was to wait for the next milestone before doing another subscriber portrait, but I think every artist can relate when I say that sometimes you see something that just makes you feel like an overpowering compulsion to draw it. You know what I mean? And yes, I'm absolutely using artists as a scapegoat here for my reasoning, so thank you for your service. And don't give me that look, you know how it goes. You come across something on Pinterest or in real life or in the comments of one of your TikTok videos and your brain just goes, yep, I'm drawing that. So what you're saying is you broke your own rules just because you really, really wanted to draw someone? Yeah. Yeah, right. Anyway, this is Kris, and she'll be our subject for this piece. And I think you guys can immediately understand why I wanted to draw her, because just look at this photo. She is so photogenic and has absolutely stunning hair, and the lighting is on point. So obviously my brain immediately went into portrait mode. So yeah, let's get to it. First up is the thumbnailing. Kris sent me some ideas that she likes for the artwork, one of them being ravens, and she thought that maybe a starry night landscape could work nicely with that. But another idea that she likes even more so is swans, since she said she's a huge swan girly and really likes the elegance that they embody, and suggested that maybe a gold and white color palette could maybe fit into this really well. So I explored both directions. For the first thumbnail, I did a raven flying out of the hair with a forest landscape inside that I planned to turn into a starry night scene. For the second option, I went with the swans, where the hair became a lake environment with swans swimming over the water and one of them swimming out of the hair. I also added some hanging plants and vines over the water to frame the scene a bit more. And for the third option, I tried something a little different. I drew Kris ballroom dancing next to a lake with swans in the background, since I saw that she's really good at dancing and I thought that'd be fun to incorporate into this piece. I sent all three options to her so she can decide which one she resonates with, and she said she loved them all, but in the end she chose the second option with the swans because that is the one that felt the most like her. And honestly, I completely agree. The swans fit the elegant vibe really, really nicely. With the thumbnail chosen, I refined the sketch by adding her facial features. But here's where I hit a bit of a snag. Something you might have noticed with these recent portraits is that they are much more stylized than the realistic portraits I usually do. Which also then led me to realize something interesting while doing these. When I draw realistically, it's easier to capture someone's likeness, but when you start to stylize things like the face shape or exaggerate certain features like the eyes and the mouth and stuff like that, sometimes it becomes a bit harder to keep that familiarity. Like sometimes the drawing looks good, but doesn't quite look like the person anymore, you know? And that's actually the problem I ran into when I did the first sketch for this piece. The nose is wrong as well as the eyes, and it just looks like she's deadpanning into the void. So I softened the features a bit by moving the eyebrows further up, adjusted the eyes to be squinted more, and adjusted the shape of the nose to be more accurate. And thankfully the likeness started to come through a lot better. Kris was happy with the update, so it's time to move on to color tests. I did 3 color options, and since we were going for an elegant vibe, the first 2 palettes lead into that idea. The first option was more of a brownish gold palette, whereas the second option used more gold and white tones, with some blue accents. But then for the third option, I tried a sunset palette, since Kris mentioned she likes these colors as well. Though we both agreed that the second option worked the best, since it just felt cleaner and more elegant overall. So with that decided, it's time for the render tests. I already had a basic lighting idea in mind, so the 2 options are fairly similar. For the first one, I have the light source coming more from the left side because I wanted to feel like the light was coming from within the hair. Well, more specifically the landscape inside the hair, but you know what I mean. For the second option, I have the lighting spread a bit further across her face so that this side is more illuminated. As a result, the second one ended up looking better because it just gives the face more form and makes the lighting feel a lot stronger. So I went with this option. Then I pushed the render test a bit further by adding more detail to the hair, the swan and the line work. Then it's time for cleanup. For the line work, I just used 3 colors, a golden brown for the skin, hair and swans, a purplish red for the lips and the main swan's beak, and a dark blue for the eyes and the flowers. This is how that looks for the flat colors, and now it's time for the final render. Add some color to the face, lighting and shading, pompous birdies, pretty hair, and done! I I am really proud of this piece. I think the elegance of the concept came through so nicely, and I especially love how the swan is swimming out of the hair, which kind of tracks with my previous preferences of my other pieces where, you know, the animal's kind of taking a step into our world. And yeah, I guess I really just like that kind of concept. So I shouldn't really be surprised, is what I'm saying. As for the name, I decided to go with Swan because, you know, duh. I guess I could be more professional and say how it ties into the core element of this piece, and that's the reason why I chose the name. But I just feel like it's obvious, and you know, because swans, and yeah. Anyone confused? Good. All right. I feel like the more I've done these videos, the more I've become unprofessional, and I'm just like going off script. So do that with what you will. I hope it's at least entertaining, my chaotic incompetence from not being able to speak English properly, as it were. Anyway, a huge thank you to Kris for letting me draw her. I really hope you love your portrait as much as I loved making it. And a big thank you as well to PB for lending me their OC for the interaction portion of this video. I've linked both Kris's and PB's socials in the description, so please go show them some love and support. Since this wasn't a rework, there's nothing to mark off on the board this time, but once again let me know which piece I should do next, or if you have a completely new idea for a piece like this. Also, wait, before I end the video, look at this cute fan art by Eli the Coyote. It is so cute, and it's my first fan art, and holy shit, I love it so much. It really made my day. Thank you, Eli. I'm keeping it forever. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.